Hi, boys and girls. Today we are going to be reading the last chapter of the World Rivers book. This is the end of our unit. We'll have a few rivers that we're going to learn about today, and you will have a review to do this week and a test to take over this unit as a whole. So one of the continents that we have not seen any rivers from yet is the continent of Europe. So we're going to start our reading today by seeing a couple of the famous rivers in the continent of Europe. So in my book, this is on page 38. If any of you follow along with the text, I'll present it for you to follow along. I forgot that I'd been doing those for the last couple of videos. So let's look at the book. So we're going to flip to the last chapter, which is on rivers and trade. So the first couple of rivers are in Europe. Let me show you the Europe map that is in the back of this book. So I know it's sideways, but here is the continent of Europe, which is connected to Asia. The orange parts are Asia, and then below it is Africa. You can see the coast of Africa. So the two rivers we're going to look at today, there's three. I forgot about the Volga as well. So there's the Volga River here, the Danube and the Rhine right here. We're also going to look at another river in Africa. We already read about the Congo River, which is in Central Africa, right there. And the Nile River, the longest river in the world, in Northern Africa on the East Coast. We're going to look at this river called the Niger River today, though. So the Niger River is going to be in our reading. Let's go back to chapter 7 now. Rivers and trade. Now, it says the Rhine River. Did you know that there really are castles like the ones in fairy tales? Many old castles stand along the rivers of Europe. The Rhine River has many castles along its banks. People built them for protection against enemy attacks. A castle often has tall towers with windows at the top. From there, a lookout could see an enemy coming from far away. It's very smart of them to create castles in that way. Here is the Rhine River, which you can see some castles alongside. Now, castles also have thick stone walls. These made it hard for an enemy to break through. Still, castles along the Rhine were destroyed and rebuilt many times. Building and owning a castle was not cheap. Castle owners stopped boats on the river. They made boats pay a toll to pass safely. As you can see, toll is money charged of a road or waterway. We have some roads, especially in larger cities, called toll roads, where people actually have to pay to use that road. And your payment goes to keeping that road really nice. So that still exists today, but at this time, it was a toll to be able to pass that castle safely, and that money would go to the castle owner so that they could keep up their castle. So the Rhine River always had a lot of boat traffic. Now, castle owners collected a lot of money. The Rhine is still busy today. In fact, it is one of the world's busiest rivers. This is especially true near the Rhine's mouth at the North Sea. Many cargo ships and passenger boats sail these waters. Captains must be very careful. Let's look at that again. Okay, so here is the Rhine River connecting up to the Danube, as you can see, or nearly connecting. So a lot of people on that river to trade back and forth between countries. Now, you can also find castles along the Danube River. Both the Rhine and the Danube have their sources in Central Europe. The Rhine flows mainly toward the north, and the Danube flows to the east. Let's come back here for a moment. So the Rhine flows north. So it starts here, or I can't quite see the source. Looks like right here. So it starts here and then flows north. I know it looks like west that direction, but this is backward. This is a sideways map right now. So here is the source of the Danube, and it's flowing east. Now, it glides through valleys, forests, cities, and plains. Finally, it reaches its mouth at the Black Sea. The Danube touches 7 countries. The river is so important to these countries that their leaders long ago made a promise. They agreed that everyone could use the river, even when their countries disagree about something. So that's important. They've realized that everybody needs that river. And so even if they're in the middle of war with each other, everybody should be allowed to use it. A cool fact about the Danube River is that ancient Greek sailors conducted trade along the Danube and ancient Romans patrolled its waters. Okay, there's a hint about our next unit. We're going to be learning about ancient Rome in our next history unit. Now, the Volga is the last European / it's also in Asia river. Far to the east of the Rhine and Danube rivers is Russia's most important river. It is called the Volga River. Now, Russian folk songs call the Volga beloved mother. That's very similar to what we saw with the Ganga River before. We learned about that several chapters ago. That's because so many people depend on it. Russians use the Volga to deliver food, coal, lumber, and manufactured goods, which are items made in large numbers for sale or trade. The Volga flows into the Caspian Sea. It does not flow directly into an ocean. A network of rivers and canals links the Volga to the Baltic Sea and to the Black Sea. From the Baltic Sea, ships can reach the Atlantic Ocean. From the Black Sea, they can sail to the Mediterranean Sea. The Volga helps Russia stay connected by water with other countries. So it's this connection, as you can see in this map, between these seas, the Baltic Sea and the Caspian Sea down here. So it helps all of this area to stay connected, which especially hundreds of years ago was important because that was their main way, the easiest way of traveling is through water. Okay, we are going to look next at the Niger River here, which is in Western Africa, with a little town highlighted called Timbuktu. Some of you might have heard the phrase Timbuktu before, like something would be shipped off to Timbuktu, which means very far, far away. So that comes from this city in Western Africa. Sometimes the cities on riverbanks reveal how important the river is. The city of Timbuktu in the African nation of Mali is one example. It is located along the Niger River. Over 500 years ago, Timbuktu was the capital of a mighty African empire, which you'll learn much more about African empires in 4th grade history at our school. It was also a great trading center. Its bazaar, or marketplace, was a busy place. The shouts of buyers and sellers filled the air. Smelly camels strolled the streets. Vendors sold salt, ivory, wooden statues, and copper rings. The air smelled of sweet watermelons and grilled fish and onions. These and many other goods moved up and down the Niger River on boats. Traders passed hippopotamuses bathing lazily in the water. Nearby, fishing boats caught fish for market. Even today, local marketplaces still depend on the Niger River. People in Western Africa still use the river to carry goods. The hustle and bustle of their marketplaces remind us that civilization not only springs up, but still prospers by the riverside. Here is a more current picture of what it's like for them to even have camels on the streets there. I think that I told you earlier that I used to live close to Africa. Over here, actually it's right around here. sorry, got the wrong spot on the map, but in Israel, in the Palestinian territories specifically, where they had a lot of camels wandering the streets. So right around that region. And we're over here in Western Africa on the Niger River where they're showing that. So it's very important to all of the people who live along it. That is the end of our unit. As I mentioned before, we are going to have as our next unit, ancient Rome. So we will learn all about ancient Rome. It's really fun to see all of the ways that Rome contributed to the society that we have today in America. And we also are going to hear specifically about some of the famous parts of the Roman Empire's history. So over here on our map, Rome today is just a city in Italy, but the Roman Empire used to be the majority of the continent of Europe, also parts of Asia and Africa ended up being part of its empire. So they were so successful that they took over large amounts of land and they had it all together as part of their empire. Lots of countries together under one rule. So they had a Roman Republic, which we're going to be hearing about soon. I know that in second grade you learned about the Greek democracy. So we're going to be hearing about the Roman Republic and some of the famous leaders in Rome. That is our next unit. Remember, this week we do have a review and a test. And then the next week is when you're going to start learning about ancient Rome. Okay, that is all. I'll talk to you later, boys and girls. Bye.